So, okay. I'm not actually going to go on to 4chan, even though I'm pretty sure it's still up. Tekken 8 gameplay story roster leaks. Zagreus from Hades is playable. This dude's trying to get people to click on his article, and I can respect that, but I don't believe that for a second. Okay, so Tekken 8 story leak. This is Heihachi's last game, and Kazuya will replace him as the permanent big bag. Heihachi's never been thrown in the lava before. Kazuya was, and Kazuya's got the devil gene. And I don't know if this is like some weird Mandela effect situation. I don't like saying that term because people overuse it, and sometimes they say it and they don't even know what it means. But I remember as a kid in Tekken 4, it was suggesting that Kazuya was brought back by G Corporation. Like, they used cybernetics to bring him back, and like the devil gene sort of like kept him alive during the process. And as a kid, I don't remember Kazuya's eye ever being red. I don't remember him having heterochromia before Tekken 4. I thought he had a robot eye, and that's why his eye would shine. But I could be wrong. I'm open to the fact that I am. I'm pretty sure I am wrong. But, of course, Heihachi is dead. In fact, I don't believe this. I don't believe the next Tekken is going to be Heihachi's last game. I wouldn't be surprised if this Tekken that we have now is Heihachi's last game. He died. It's unfortunate because Heihachi has the coolest aesthetic animations of the Mishima family. All of his, like, you know, hammer fist, you know, knife hand, like, the way he fights is just cooler looking than his son or his grandson. Unless you count Devil Jin, because Devil Jin has a very aesthetically pleasing fighting style, and even then not really, because he uses like his claws and it's very anime. Jin in Tekken 3 is the best a Mishima has ever looked and played, in my opinion, in several people's opinions. So it would be a shame if Heihachi didn't come back, in my opinion. But I wouldn't lose sleep over it. I don't play him. I haven't played Heihachi like on a level where I'm just like, oh yeah, I actually want to play Heihachi, since I was 12. I didn't know how Tekken worked at the competitive level. I knew how it worked at the standard, like, casual, everyone plays Tekken level. Second, everyone was like, oh yeah, you gotta move to make Heihachi work. I was like, this seems like an unnecessary amount of work. And there are several characters you're gonna make fun of my character for doing, but there are way more characters who don't have to move like this and are just as strong. So, no. Pass. Yeah, blah, 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 Kazuya's popularity in Smash. Okay, so the gameplay leak points. Not every character has a power crush. The moves are still there, but properties are getting changed. Okay, I wouldn't mind people's power crushes being changed around and moved around on their character, but if power crushes aren't universal, how are you going to make the characters who can't do that better? Are you going to give them, like, invulnerable moves? Like, something similar? Something much slower, but, like, if you do it at the right time, like, you won't hit the opponent at all? Or maybe it does less damage and it's quicker? I don't know, but the idea that certain characters have armor and certain characters do not sounds stupid to me. Wave Dash-esque movement mechanics are getting introduced to more characters. Overall movement complexity is encouraged. I don't believe this for a second. Namco doesn't want you to move the way we move. The way when I backdash cancel, make someone whiff, and then throw them into the air with my down forward 3+4 is Eddie. Namco sees that and is like, God, we wish you hadn't done that. Especially if that player is at a lower rank or doesn't take this game seriously like I do. Namco, like, any person who works on the Tekken team, aside from maybe, like, a couple, are like, I wish you hadn't done that. I wish you hadn't made my game seem harder and more off-putting, to people who would just want to buy it on a whim. Because people like you exist. And that's just me. Imagine what these super higher echelon content creators and professional players make this game look to lower level players. And it's like, they don't want you doing stuff like that. Why do you think they made Tekken 4? It was in a direct reaction to Tag 1. Tag 1 is when all this high level stuff really started to drive itself home. And it was already, like, bad enough, like, you know, because before, like, high level was, like, using just characters who were better. Like, Ogre's stupid in Tekken 3. Jin is stupid in Tekken 3. They're all stupid strong. Then Tekken Tag comes around, and you have these stupid strong characters, and they can move around and make you miss? They make the opponent miss? Just by pressing back, back, down, back really quickly? Namco didn't want you to do that, and they got rid of it. And then when, like, that almost killed the franchise competitively... Even though Tekken 4 didn't sell poorly, like, I'm honestly surprised they brought your ability to do it back in Tekken 5. I guess it really was just like the audience voiced their concerns enough. I don't know, because I don't know any other game to take away, like, a mechanic. It's not a mechanic, it's a strategy. They take away, like, strategies, like, overused by high-level players, and they take them away and you don't get them back. Smash Brothers hasn't brought back anything that makes Melee. And I don't think they should, but, you know, that's proof. Like, they don't want you to play Smash Brothers the way you play Smash Brothers, but like Tekken, they're like, I guess we have no choice. Tutorials to introduce players to Korean backdashes. I don't believe that either, because like I said, I don't think they want us to move around that way. They've been nerfing movement since 5. You don't sidestep as well, and you don't backdash as well. You walk backwards better. You walk backwards faster. That's the only movement that's been improved. And walking backwards, I don't think should be really good in Tekken. Like, you know, because like there are certain characters, they walk backwards and then they cover twice the distance they've walked with like a mid elbow or something, Leo. And it's kind of lazy. That's like, you're getting characters like more modern characters who just teach people how to flowchart. And I don't care, like, don't get me wrong, it's frustrating when you lose to it because you know what to do against it, but like either your connection or, you know, your character's properties aren't helping you very much. But yeah, they're not going to learn to play the game. And I don't think this is real, like, because if this is real, Korean backdash tutorials, that means Korean backdash is different. Like, that means it's different. That means backdash canceling is different and it works different. That means they've actually established it as a mechanic. Because as it is now, it is not a mechanic. It's two different mechanics put together. It's dashing and crouching really quickly in unison. Not in unison, like in succession. So that means it's going to be different somehow. And you might not like it. And I hope it's not true. There is a new clinching mechanic that's somewhat similar to clashing in Soul Calibur 6 that gives characters more grappling options. I'm not sure how it controls, but characters will have unique options and clinches for strikes, takedowns, like trips, etc. This is what I see a lot of people get up in arms about. I think someone's even bothered Harada about this at this point. If this is real, who cares? I'm at a point where I'm like, who cares? I don't think it made Soul Calibur... The rock, paper, scissors thing didn't make Soul Calibur problematic. Clashing and Injustice didn't make Injustice problematic, in my opinion. I don't see this necessarily making or breaking the game. It could be a mechanic no one uses. Remember Pandora mode and Street Fighter Cross Tekken? That game, that mechanic does not ruin the game. It does nothing to help the game, because you just avoid using it. Granted, there are some people, like, you know, you need to clean up your inputs. You do it by I did it by accident a couple times. I'm trying to do one move, and then it activates Pandora, and it's like, okay, that ruins the game. But if this mechanic's on, like, its own button, or, like, it's, like, a universal technique everyone has, I don't see it as necessarily a problem. You gotta see how it works. You can't go by, like, oh, it's a new, like, clinching mechanic. What does that mean? Like, the worst that happens in my opinion, of like a clinching mechanic, the kickboxers and the Muay Thai fighters, because there's like 6 in Tekken. Brian, Falk, Josie, Katarina, Bruce. Like, the worst that could happen is if there's a clinching mechanic, they can throw knees. Like, they're automatically better at it because, you know, like, that's their whole gimmick. Meanwhile, like, characters who aren't really grappling based, like, oh man, Steve. Like, Steve could go one of 2 ways. Like, Steve either, like, clinches you and he, like, keeps punching you in the gut. Like Dudley's throw. Like Dudley in Third Strike. Or he's useless and he grabs you and he just like clinches you and then he pushes you off. Like, if it's super thematic like that, then it'll probably ruin the game. But I doubt it. It'll probably be universal and everybody will have the same options. And if this is even I don't even think it's real. Zagreus from Hades. That's at the bottom, so we'll talk about that in a second. Current roster planned is 24 characters. They may cut it down to 22. Objectively false. This game's arcade released with like 20 characters. Objectively false. All the money they just made making this game and how mad people are about DLC practices and the way things are right now. Microtransactions are still a problem. It's just loot boxes are the only thing that have been actually beaten. No, I don't believe this. Like, this game made so much more money than Tag 2. It did so much better. And, like, I've been on the 4chan board for this. People were like, oh, Tag 2 was better. No, it wasn't. Nothing about Tag 2 was better, and you need to get over it. The movement was better. Was it? Like you keep telling... Professionals, content creators keep telling me to watch these videos. Watch Knee versus JDCR in Tag 2 and then watch it in 7. It's the same shit. Wave dashing at each other with a faux Mishima, which Armor King, and a true Mishima, Devil Jin. They're doing the same shit. Oh, sorry, but like in that case, it was Dragunov versus the Mishima, which they have that in Tag 2 too. It's the same thing. And you've convinced yourself it's different because this game does have a lot of new user-friendly mechanics. It's got armor. It's got an armor-based super designed to absorb moves. And there's no more bound, and so there's like the damage increments, in theory, should be smaller. They're the same once you involve walls. In fact, they're worse. There are plenty of reasons you could say Tekken 7 is worse than Tag 2, but movement's not one of them. Anyway, this isn't true. I don't believe this for a second. I don't believe this for a second. I believe this is what they'll... If they do an arcade release again, this is what... I'll believe that. I'll believe this is a base arcade version. But base console version, 24 characters, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. Tekken 5 had more characters than that. I think Tekken 4 is how far you have to go to get this many characters or less. Lars is not returning, but maybe DLC. Nope, I'm not that lucky. I'm not that lucky. This situation does not exist. Where I don't have to deal with this anime nonsense anymore. No. Absolutely not. That's false. I don't like Lars. I've never liked Lars. I have several friends who play him. I played him in Tekken 6. Everyone played him in Tekken 6 because he was new, and he had the coolest up 3 in the game. Up forward 3. It's his up forward 3, right? Yeah. The lightning screw? Everyone wanted to do that. It looked cool. It was animated very well. But no, I hate this character. I hate any character who came out after 5 vanilla. So yeah, that includes Lily and Dragunov and Armor King too. They're all way stronger than they need to be, like just on paper, like at base. And it doesn't matter at like the higher levels of the game, so people shrug it off. But learning to play the game, these grapes drying out my throat. But yeah, learning to play the game, like actually like the process of going from like playing the game the way I played it, the way most people play it, to actually moving around, punishing, and playing the game at a more efficient level, like trying to play the game efficiently, trying to play the game in ways that assure my victory. These characters ruined that experience for me. Because I hated them before I took the game seriously. I was always like, wait, no, what they're doing is nonsense. For one thing, it's not real martial arts. For another thing, it's really strong. They reach out really far. They hit very hard. They do things the older characters can't do. They hit mid a lot. They knock me out. Like, the whole premise of a lot of characters is we duck under highs. These characters come along and don't care. I got good at this game, and they're still doing all that. So yeah, I don't like those characters. I don't like Lars. I would love to see a Tekken where he doesn't exist. A modern Tekken where he doesn't exist. It's not going to happen. He's important. He's a well-liked character. He's well-known. He's played a lot. Like, I've been talking crap about him since this game came out, because he was garbage in Season 1. He was worse than Eddie in Season 1. And no one played him because of it. And I was like, yeah, the second this character isn't good, it's not even that he wasn't good, it's that he was balanced. He wasn't broken anymore. No one picks him. You expect me to believe Namco's come to that conclusion that they figured it out? No. No, I refuse. Lars is coming back. Yeah, I don't think Lars players have anything to worry about it. Gigas is cut, and Katarina are cut. I want to doubt that, too. Of all the characters with a single one-page... Okay. Of all the characters with a single... I thought he was going to throw up. My cat. Of all the characters with single-story cutscenes, like, you know, the storybook cutscenes in Tekken 7 were awful. These are the only two characters with ones that seem like they matter, because they're connected to each other. And it's like, yeah, so if you cut one, you cut the other, but I don't see it. Like, it's possible, I'd believe it, but I don't see it. I don't like these characters either. I like Katarina more than Gigas, because at least Katarina has a real fighting style. Shaheen does a fake fighting style, but it looks realistic. It's punches and kicks. It's not anime nonsense like what Lars does. And you can be mad at him. People always have like their like opinions, like, what are you talking about? Like, Lars has a grab where he grabs you, he grabs your wrist, and he drags his fingers up your stomach, and you take damage. That's no, absolutely not. Chloe is back. That I don't want to believe. She raised such a stink when she was created. Like this, oh man, I was working on a video talking about like characters I didn't want to come back, and spoiler alert, one was Chloe. Not that it matters, like, I'm not gonna get a bunch of views on this anyway, so like, it's not like people are gonna know, like, if they click on that video, like, hey, I knew you were gonna put Chloe in the video. But Chloe, people don't like Chloe, and people were mad that she came out, and like, I hope they're not dumb enough to just, like, you know, be like, yeah, screw those people who were mad, we love Chloe. I hope you're not dumb enough to do that. Capcom, as much as I hated the roster in Street Fighter 4, made the right call by not having Third Strike characters in it. Those are my favorite characters, and yeah, I felt hurt that none of them were there on launch, but... You know, I was a kid when Street Fighter 3 came out. I was small. I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't even understand, like, industry or, like, that Capcom was not getting money for that game. Falk is back and important to the story, sure. I guess that's believable. I assume Lee is back. What does that mean? Because he's getting these points from the actual freaking original. Yeah, like this, like all this nonsense. I'm not about to read through this and just vitriol and people being as shit as possible, as awful as human beings can be. But yeah, at one point the dude who released the leak said that. What do you mean you assume? And he's like talking about how, like, you know, he can't get sued because of the NDA or whatever because of loopholes. Nonsense. It's all nonsense. And the amount of characters he doesn't talk about that are important, and the ones he does talk about and like would be in the base roster, there's a lot of characters that are like, I think at one point one dude like tallied everything this dude was saying, and Law isn't in the base roster. Law? No. If your character was in Tekken 1 on the those base, like it's like 8 of them. Kazuya, Law, Yoshi, Paul, King, Nina. Michelle slash... Ooh, that's not even true anymore. So yeah. Those 6 characters are never and will never have anything to worry about. One guest character on release, Zagreus from Hades. Well, I'd main him. I love Hades. I don't even have the true ending yet. Like I got Persephone back. That's about it. That's my full extent. But
time for more pain.
Hades is a lot of fun. I don't see. The thing is, I don't think people's like ideas like, oh, certain characters shouldn't be Tekken characters. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think anybody can be in Tekken, really, and I think Zagreus is a better fit than Noctis. Zagreus has punch weapons. So, I don't know. He's going to look weird. That art style is not going to transfer well at all. The whole Supergiant games and then Namco 3D, he's not going to look good, period. You could, yeah, no, Akuma was easy. That's a big buff, ugly Japanese dude. Geese is easy. That's a big buff, like, dude from Florida. But Zagreus, no. Like, he's got pale skin. His feet are on fire. No. He's got heterochromia like Kazuya. I bet they'd play that up if that was. These are fake. These leaks mean nothing. I'm not gonna humor this anymore. You know why these leaks mean nothing? Because we haven't seen anything yet, and if you didn't have Lars is not returning on here, I wouldn't be as doubtful. There's no way. I don't even like that character, but it's just not a reality. Like these, I believe, these characters are underpicked. You can make memes and be like Gigas Squad and buff Gigas all you want. That character's ugly. He's boring to fight against, boring to play as. He looks like he doesn't fit in Tekken more than Noctis because he's not a normal body shape. I think at one point in these leaks, he says Geese is still in the game. Geese will stay in the game. No, I think that was a joke, but still. You know, like I'm not gonna go look through the 4chan stuff, but the bullet points here as follows. I don't believe any of it, because if you start with the roster this small, that means confirmed DLC, and that's dangerous in this climate. Because like, it's one thing when smaller fighting games do it, and you don't have a big enough audience of people to complain about it. It's another thing when Tekken does it. People were mad at Tekken 7 for not having free DLC. What do you think is going to happen to Tekken, whatever the next Tekken is called, probably Tekken 8, when it has Day 1 DLC? And 20 characters. That's less than half of the roster now. Absolutely not. This is nonsense. I don't believe any of this. We'll see what happens. Like, some of this could be true, like, you know, introducing more wave dashes to characters and stuff like that. I somewhat believe that. Literally a premise of martial art is ducking and coming forward. In every martial art in Capoeira, it's called Esquiva. Esquiva Deutsch, you technically lean to the side and forward, like at an angle, but still. So, I guess that's possible. A new mechanic being added to the game. Not a big surprise. They added a new mechanic to 7. I don't know why they. The thing about games and the gaming industry, they like to repeat the same thing. They want to do the same thing and have it make more money. So drastic changes, I'm not too sure about. The next Tekken is just going to be Tekken 7 in higher fidelity. This game did way better than Tag 2, and they're not about to let that money slip and slide. But yeah, I doubt all of this. That's it for now. I don't know how long I've been rambling about this topic specifically, but Lars won't be in the game. I don't believe me. Nope. Okay, that's the end of that.